Here's what I've learned from inserting some type of humor before my WandaVision videos start. You guys think that I'm punny. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you're new to the channel, I'd love it if you click the subscribe button. Well, we made it to the 9th and final episode of WandaVision. There's a lot going on in this episode, so let's start discussing it with spoilers now. Thanks for joining me. This is the most Marvel of all of the episodes that we've had so far, and had a very theatrical feel for me, as we pick up Wanda's story where it left off from last episode. She and Agnes are in the streets of Westview and they're firing magical shots at each other. Agatha says, "I take power from the undeserving. That's kind of my thing." Agatha makes an offer to Wanda to give up her powers in exchange to stay in Westview forever with her fake husband and children. That's met with a flying car that smashes Agatha into a house with her boots remaining underneath. If that sounds very Wizard of Oz-ish, it is, and it's one of two references to the film in this episode, the other one coming on the marquee of the movie theater in town. While this battle ensues, we have a secondary, well-even battle between our vision of Westview and the Haywood-created White Vision from the end credit scenes of the last episode. We have Agent Jimmy Woo unbelievably being able to steal a cell phone and pick the lock of his handcuffs, which took him like 5 seconds to do, so we could call in the cavalry. At this point, you think the cavalry would be, the Avengers, or at least an Avenger or some type of a superhero, but it isn't. It's the FBI. Haywood telling Agent Woo that he could have been part of the victory if he had a little more, wait for it, vision. We also have Monica Rambeau being held captive by the fake Pietro, who we learn is the often talked about, but always missing, Ralph. And he's an actor. Ralph Boner. Adding an H into his name doesn't make your stupid dick joke any funnier. Just saying. She destroys the mind control necklace that keeps him doing Agatha's bidding. We're back to Wanda and Agatha now, as we learn that it was the Darkhold book that we saw in Agatha's basement, and Scarlet Witch has an entire chapter to it herself. It's your destiny to destroy the world, Agatha says to Wanda, showing her the pain she's caused the other residents of Westview, including Herb and Dottie. Wanda starts to open up the hex. This allows Haywood and his team in, but it also starts destroying the Westview version of Vision and her children. At this time, we do get a very good interaction between the two visions, which was well written and seemed to be very much in line for the characters. It ends with Westview Vision, who's a representation of the Mind Stone in Wanda, restoring White Vision's memories and White Vision flying off. Haywood continues to be one of the most hated, if not the most hated character in this series, and for whatever reason decides to shoot Wanda's children. He's stopped by Monica Rambeau, who absorbs the bullets. The ice cream van, driven by Darcy Lewis, sideswipes Haywood with her only line of the episode, "Enjoy your time in jail." The bubbly way that she says it really works for the character, though. In a very Age of Ultron reminiscent moment, Wanda sneaks up on Agatha and takes her back to the Salem trials, which we saw at the beginning of last week's episode. But this backfires, as those witches also proclaim Wanda as the Scarlet Witch. So this puts us back to modern day, where Wanda mirrors the power-nullifying hex that Agatha used in her basement, which, by the way, I thought was brilliant. A little predictable, but brilliant. And she sentences Agatha to the role of the nosy neighbor for the rest of her time there. We also get Wanda in a full-blown modern Scarlet Witch costume, which I admit had me internally laughing, thinking that this on-screen version of the comic book costume looks something like Cher wore in concert in the late 1990s, one of those who wore it better moments. So Westview's destruction is coming, and we have the goodbye scene with the children and Wanda and Vision. I know this scene was very touching for a lot of folks, but for me, we've done this with these characters already. We knew it was coming. Even in some of the dialogue seemed predictable. For example, Wanda saying to the children, "Thank you for choosing me to be your mom." It just didn't tug at my heartstrings. We know Vision is going to be back. We know the children are probably going to be back. As a matter of fact, Vision has probably already rebirthed himself in the White Vision. So it just didn't move me that much. This all ends with Wanda standing on the empty house plot that we saw her drive up to in the previous episode. She ends up leaving the town in full Scarlet Witch garb. It wouldn't be a true Marvel presentation without not one, but two credit scenes, so let's talk about those now. Our mid-credit scene finds the FBI cleaning up the town as Monica meets with an agent inside the theater. This agent reveals herself as a Skrull sent by a buddy of her late mother's, more than likely referring to Nick Fury. He heard you've been grounded. He'd like to meet with you, she says as she points up. More than likely, we have Monica Rambeau set for a space adventure for Captain Marvel 2 with the scene. After our credits end, we find Wanda living in an alpine lodge. Her physical self is boiling a pot of water for tea, while her separate, magical self is reading from the Darkhold, presumably the chapter about herself, in order to learn more about her abilities. She pauses when she hears the voices of her vanished sons, Billy and Tommy, crying out for help. So a few more personal thoughts that I haven't shared yet. This episode is jam-packed and it does feel crowded. I felt like they needed more time. It checks in at 49 minutes, but keep in mind a good 5+ of those minutes is devoted just to the credits. But then I think if they had more time, they just would have jammed more stuff into it, still not solving the problem. I'm not sure how I feel that it was Agatha all along, and that she wasn't being controlled by someone. I'm not used to Agatha Harkness being a villain. I'm used to her being a mentor for Wanda and helping her. All of the Mephisto rumors kind of took away some of that reveal a few episodes back because I thought it was Agatha being controlled by Mephisto. I am happy that Wanda has her Scarlet Witch code name established and a true superhero costume to go with it. While the show does have a conclusion to it, there's a fair amount of smaller things that do not get resolved or touched on. I have a feeling because this is a Marvel property and its reputation, these things are going to be not that big of a deal for fans. But had DC done it with one of their characters, there would be no forgiveness. There definitely is a double standard there. Now, don't think I didn't like this episode or the show, because I did. And there's some things that I thought were done very well in this episode. I really thought the moments between Wanda and Monica at the end were good. I actually wish there was more of that. I especially like Wanda talking about the perception of her and how that won't change. That was well done. The Vision on Vision moments were very good too. The moment of the town folks, when they talk with Wanda, when you learn that the nightmares that Wanda has, they share in as well. That was well done. The twisting of Wanda back into the hero we knew from the MCU, which actually kind of started with the last episode, was well executed again in this episode and was a perfect wrap-up. So before we wrap up this video, as I've been doing in all of the other recap videos, I've been showing you some comic books that feature Vision and Scarlet Witch. This is Giant Size Avengers issue number 4, the issue where the two of them get married. And while we're talking about the Vision Scarlet Witch love story, look at this cover. This is actually the Ade Grinoff Virgin variant for Deadpool issue number 13. And here's the true kicker. Vision and Scarlet Witch aren't in the interior of this issue anywhere. Complete cover buy from me, but look at how beautiful that is. I haven't actually shown this in one of my official comic book editions video yet, but I had to show it in this video. I love it. So is there another episode, a secret episode to WandaVision that's coming out next week? That rumor's been kicking around. If there is, I'll be doing another review of it. But let's keep in mind all of the other things that the internet said was going to happen with this show that didn't. Things like Mephisto was going to be in it. Didn't happen. We're going to see Wonder Man, or the introduction of him. No, we didn't see that. The last 3 episodes will be hour-long each. Someone even said that this finale episode was going to be a movie-length 2-hour episode. None of that was true. Dick Van Dyke's going to be in it. Doctor Strange will make a cameo. None of that stuff happened either. So if a secret episode 10 does pop up next week, I will be back to review it. Maybe I'm kicking around the idea too at some point in the future, maybe of just doing the top 5 things that I love the most about WandaVision, because that would be an easy one to fill. There's a lot of things that I really liked about this series, so that's something I might kick around. We might not be entirely done with talking about WandaVision on this channel. But whatever I decide to do, just stick around, make sure the notification bell is turned on, and you'll know when new content is added to this channel so you can check it out. I certainly appreciate all of the feedback that I've gotten from doing these videos. I really started doing these as an experiment just to kind of get used to doing review and first thought watch type videos. And I've learned a lot from them. I've gotten some great constructive feedback, which I appreciated. I've had a lot of positive feedback from community members as well, which I truly appreciate your time in watching. There's tons of these videos out there. You could go anywhere on the internet to watch someone's thoughts on WandaVision, and you chose mine, and that certainly means the world to me. This was not an easy series to review. I mean, I look back at the first few episodes, and stuff happened, but nothing happened to talk about at the exact same time. So I definitely picked a challenging show to start doing these review videos with. But as I said, I did it because I wanted to learn, and I thank you for allowing me to learn and all of the feedback you gave me, which provided me to learn. So once again, if you're new to the channel, please click the subscribe button. If you give this video a thumbs up, that wouldn't hurt my feelings either. And leave a comment as well. Let me know what you thought of this episode, this review, and WandaVision in general. So that brings us to the end. As I say to you, so long, darling.